Richa, what expectations should clients have from their private banks?
Any family or any high net worth individual is looking from their private banking relationship is honest and appropriate advice. So I don't think a family, and I think HNIs and individuals generally have a lot more patience with their advisors than maybe an institutional client may have. So they don't mind if you get it wrong, so long as you have got it wrong with all your true intentions. What families don't like is if they've been missold a product. They don't mind if a decision or a product you've sold to them has not worked out the way it is, but they're extremely unhappy if they ever felt they've been missold anything. I think those incidences can be avoided by better education of the investors, better training of the advisors so that they're more effectively able to communicate the risk and return expectations of a product. And I think once those are clearly mentioned to the family or to the client, and if the client has then made a decision of taking on or investing in a product, I think that decision would be much better taken. So I think there is a great need of education.
Richa, how is the sophistication of wealthy individuals evolving?
I think what we found is that there is a distinct sophistication in what we call as the HNI versus the UHNI, or what you may call as a family business pot of money. So within the sophistication of what they can do and what they can invest in is much greater within the HNI community. That's more professional, so people who have professional degrees, are involved in professional capacity, or have had some exposure to international education or products, of experience of having lived outside. There the sophistication, knowledge, appreciation of advisor and what they bring to the table is far more than with some of the old generation wealth. And we definitely find a difference between the first generation promoters, who are the way they look at investing, versus the second or the third generation of the newer, or the first generation entrepreneurs who are in their early 40s or 50s. So in the old generation, I think the attitude still remains about putting it into a bank deposit or going and investing in your own business. So that idea or appreciation of diversifying across a whole range of investment options is still quite limited. They still tend to rely on their trusted advisor, which could be their CFO, who is qualified by his allegiance and loyalty to the promoter rather than his professional qualifications. So that is definitely there. But we find that where there are first generation entrepreneurs, they understand what investment is, what returns are, what is a good investment opportunity, and there they're willing to take a whole range of bets across investment types, across product type. So there is still pockets of maturity, and there are still gaps in. So you cannot, I think, generalize the universe. It's more from where the wealth is being generated and what which are they this first generation wealth or the second generation, and what exposure they've had to markets.
So how can wealth managers generally improve the relationships they have with families?
And there are a couple of things that I find that families really do respect and appreciate, and that can be a key to building long-term lasting relationship with a family. I think one is knowledge. I think you have to be extremely knowledgeable about markets and products. There is no getting away. If a family finds you consistently extremely knowledgeable and somebody who has in-depth understanding of products, they start looking at you as an advisor they can turn to for real advice. The second thing which is extremely important, is being patient. So sometimes what happens, if you're younger, you tend to be more aggressive, pushy, impatient. And we find that a lot of families get scared if they see somebody pushing down too much. So to have a lot of patience and give the relationship time to develop and evolve, And if you give that time to the relationship and that patience, you will find that the families will truly come on your side. And once they come on your side, it's very, very difficult to lose that relationship. And you can make mistakes you won't lose, because once they trust you, they will trust you. So you have to give time to develop a relationship. And I think the third important thing is you have to be honest with the client. If you do not believe a product is suitable for them, don't recommend. Because there will be a time they will see through that if they haven't, if you've given them something just because you thought it was, great revenue earning for you, but was not appropriate for them.
Richa, why has the concept of family offices been slow to develop in India, certainly compared with markets in the US and Europe, for example?
Now, if you look at the evolution of family offices as a concept came about in America, in USA. And primarily it was when some of the largest families in US decided to set up their own single family offices. Gradually they became, some of them converted to multi-family offices, some of them remained as single family offices. The concept in Europe also came much later as US. So in Europe, for example, I think it's much newer than in the US. Again, in Europe, predominantly you have family offices which are single and multi-family offices, and they came on the back of a lot of the large family businesses that monetized their wealth, and they needed an independent person to manage their assets. Now, Asia, there are multiple reasons why this concept hasn't really come about earlier. One is wealth wasn't really there. The wealth generation hadn't taken place. So a large part of the Asian wealth has only been generated in the last decade or so. And a lot of it is now being monetized. And families are now realizing or wanting the needs and services of a family office, be it their own single family office or multi-family office. So that's one of the reasons why, as a concept, it is just coming and arriving in Asia. I mean, wealth management as well as a concept is fairly nascent. If you look at China, it's still just starting. India also, it's been relatively new, it's under 10 years. About a decade ago, you didn't have any products or services other than bank deposits. So the wealth management as a concept is relatively new. Now within wealth management, family office is an even a more exotic concept. So that is why it's just coming about now in India and in Asia.